yay. And then she walked out to our trailer, and then she walked out and she got stung in the temple by a wasp.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember you. Yes. I
She
remember
got
you
stung in
telling
the
me.
face, and then I was just like, she's like, I can't breathe. I'm like, we're going to the hospital. And anyway, so I drop her off, and you're not allowed in the hospital. So I'm just like,
See you.
bye. And then she went
Good
inside,
luck.
and I'm like, looking at the time, I'm like, am I gonna make this show? I could make this show. And then I get in the car, and I'm like, I shouldn't make this show. And then the wife called me. She's like, yeah, so I'm gonna be here till like way after midnight. You should go to your show. Baby, I love you. Thank you for that, but I've already canceled.
I
And
think
she's
you
like,
did the right thing.
I did,
You
yeah.
You did the right thing. As if
Did
you had
just
been
be
like,
like-
I was there already.
yeah, I knew
here.
that was gonna happen.
I'm here.
Because I'm psychic.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. This is Willfully Funny. And I know the setup looks a little bit different. This is my first time doing this live, well, not live, but you know what I mean.
In person.
In
Yeah.
person with a guest. I got the equipment. I'm ready to go. So my guest this week is Kris Kingsbury.
Yeah.
I can't speak all of a sudden.
It's all right. It's because we're in live studio. You're like, I don't know. It's a real
I don't know how
person
this
here. What do we?
works. Exactly.
Holy
There's somebody in the room
shit.
with me. What the
I
fuck?
can't edit
What the
this
fuck?
out on Zoom.
Exactly.
And thank you for having me as your first live in-person guest.
Thank you
you're
for
what,
being
season
here.
4 now?
This is season 5.
5.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, I started this. I started this as shooting the breeze,
Right.
and during the pandemic, the early
Yes.
the
I
start
do
of the
remember that.
pandemic
Yeah.
in 2020, and I took about a year and a half off, and then started it up again.
Oh, that's
in
cool.
The fall,
Yeah.
and changed the name maybe a month, 2 months ago,
Okay.
or something.
Well, yeah. I mean, so a little bit of a rebranding, but that's what
Yes.
happened after COVID with a lot of stuff
Exactly,
too.
a
so
lot of
I get that.
rebranding.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's,
And I'd wanted to have you as a guest
oh,
before.
thank you. Yeah, that's so good. I did want to
Yeah.
come and do it.
Yeah.
And, it looked like a lot of fun to sit down. So here we are. That's
Yeah,
good.
so here we are. So
Yeah.
finally, and I'm happy to have you here. So welcome. Before we
Sponsored
get
by Aquafina.
no, it's not.
No, it's not.
That's
But if you want to
yeah,
sponsor her by
please sponsor
Aquafina,
us,
please come on through. Yeah.
Please do
Yeah.
come through. Come through. So we're in the lobby of my apartment for 2 reasons. A, my apartment is a disaster, and I couldn't have somebody in there. And B, Kris is allergic to cats.
Yes,
And as
and-
everyone knows, I have 3.
Yes.
Because I'm
Yes.
single.
Yeah.
And lonely.
Yeah.
You know?
And cats are awesome to have in groups like that.
And him being in my apartment for maybe 5 minutes might have killed him.
I took
So-
some antihistamines, but I don't know how strong Costco brand we're going to stand up to 3 cats.
Exactly, and
so
I
we
didn't
just-
think, you know.
Yeah. No, it's all good.
Yeah,
It's
you
all
shouldn't
good.
have
Yeah.
to test it
Yeah.
in my house.
And
you
in-
know?
in your-
That's funny. That's funny.
good.
So we've known each other for a few years now. And
Yeah.
we've worked together a bunch of times.
Yeah, for sure we
Um,
have.
Yeah.
Most recently, I guess, would have been at the conspiracy theory show I put on every month. Was that back
Yes.
in
Was that the last?
March?
I think that was March. It was earlier this year.
Yeah,
though.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And killer as always, girl. And
Thank you,
for
thank you,
being
thank
able
you.
to. Even that room is fun because he always gives a budget. Shout out to Paul at Conspiracy Theory. I don't drink a lot of your beer anymore, but your food is incredible.
Yeah, the food was really good.
Super
Yeah,
incredible.
Yeah, it was really good.
And it's not that I don't like your beer. It's just I can't drink so many calories anymore. I'm past 43. No. I need to pick my battles, and that'll be not all the beers. Yeah, and that show's great because he loves comedy. He's a big supporter of it, and the best part is he gives a budget. Yay! I don't have to worry and be stressed out about producing things and things
Yeah,
like that and trying
yeah.
to draw into a room. But yeah, that being said, do come out third
Yes.
Thursday of every
It was
every
fun.
month.
and
Yeah,
it was a
it's-
really nice space too.
yeah, it is.
It was a nice space too.
Puts a lot of bands up in there. But,
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed that show. Yeah, so we've known each other for a while. We've performed together a bunch of times, but I don't know. I don't think I know your story of how you got started into comedy
Oh,
and
wow, yeah.
how like your history with stand up.
Here we go. Origin story.
Origin story.
So I started comedy in 2007, January 5th, 2007 in Edmonton. It was mostly to keep a promise to one of my friends who had said, something really tells me you'd be great at comedy. You should do
wow.
comedy. And then in December of 2006, he passed.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, Anyway, heart attack at ripe old age of 27.
That's what I was about to say, because
Yeah.
you said you're 43, and if going back like 14 years
Yeah,
or something,
15 almost.
couldn't
Yeah.
have been that.
No, and my buddy, he said to me, something tells me you'd be really good at comedy, and I'm like, well, Miles, you're schizophrenic, so what's telling you to do what? And he's like, no, you should do it.
He's
And
like,
I'm like, okay,
seriously?
I'll do it. And then he passed that year, and I was like, oh shit. And then I got into it first. I walked into Yuck Yucks when it was still in Londonderry Mall on the north side of Edmonton. And I was like, want to sign up for the Pro-Am night? And they're like, for sure, you can do that. We'll get you on the 1st January. So I think it was January 5th or 4th, 2007.
Wow.
And as an added bonus, I was also just finishing trade school at the time. So I also built all the bar cabinets for them with lockups.
Oh.
So it was like a twofer. It was like, okay, I'll give you a pretty good deal on these cabinets at like $100 a lineal foot supplied and install. And I also want 2 consecutive weeks of shows. Right. And they're like, you can have 2 open mic nights. I'm like, what a deal.
You're like, okay.
Okay. And it was like 4 minutes. 4 minutes on a
4 minutes.
Yeah, it was a 4-minute spot, and it was just like I wrote for like 20 minutes, like the classic, and then I was just like, okay, I need to really get down to 5 jokes.
Yeah.
And I did, and it's a rush, right? Because the first time you ever do it, it's like, oh my god, I'm so nervous for this.
Yeah.
It's like sex. Then you have it, and you're like, I think I was good, but I don't really
I
know.
need
And
more.
you were horrible, and you were done, and you're like, I could do this again. Let's do this again right now. Where's the next show? Like, ding, like an 18-year-old hanging a wet towel off of it. Yeah, and I was, needless to say, I was addicted. But then I had like rapid fire succession. I had 4 shows in 4 weeks. Again, I got a lotto at Bronson's Comic Strip. I got a lotto at Yuck Yucks when they were doing it. So it was like I had 4 shows in a week. So it was very wicked,
Like intense,
super
intensive,
get you going on it. Also, I was doing a lot of amphetamines at the time.
Oh, okay.
So it was very addictive with that as well as the show. And then when I chose to get sober in 2009, I had almost a year off in Alberta where I was just a hot mess and I didn't do any shows.
Okay.
And then when I moved here in September of 2009, I recovered, got myself, basically functional again, and then called for a spot at the time. Absolute Comedy was a call-in the first Tuesday of every month to get your Wednesday booked for the next month. And I got through, and I believe I spoke to Nick Carter, the man who ever started the roast, because he was working the phones then.
Right.
And he was all like, can I get a Wednesday spot? And he's like, absolutely. Well, I don't know and I'm like, well, Chris, I've done comedy in Alberta, and they gave me a spot December 30th, 2009.
Wow.
So like the night
so
before.
The Absolute here.
Yeah,
in
Absolute
Ottawa.
here in Ottawa.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have it recorded. I think it's actually up on the internet. And I'm like, oh my God. Because I was still working through a lot of like darker stuff in my head. And when you're a young comic like that and you don't have the confidence to sell anything dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're still learning.
Because you're still learning and you're still
learning.
being comfortable with on your stage. Which you're like,
Yeah.
I'm going to say this, and there's a shock value to it.
Yeah.
But there's no follow-up funny. There's
Right.
no,
Right.
there's
It's
no,
just shock.
yeah, it was just a shock kind of a thing. So you looked at that and it was like, whoa, I've come a long way. So 2009 would be the startup date. And then I think from about 2009 to about 2013, I was full bore in construction. So I was only doing about a show a month.
Okay.
And then after I moved back from the Upper Valley, where I was running a show up in the Upper Valley in Pembroke, at a mall, and it was a monthly, but it was, I had a reserved door deal with them. It was like, you give me a $300 budget, you buy the first 20 tickets or whatever it is, and then I'll try to sell the rest, and then we'll get somebody like excellent up here, and it was good. Every month we had really, in fact, one of those memories came up on my meme review status, and it's a weird name drop, but it's like Matt Watson hosted Rebecca Reeds,
Oh yes,
Um, Adrian Kronk,
yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sophie Buttle,
Wow. Oh my God.
and Mike Beattie. That was
All
the
these
show.
powerhouses.
Yeah, it was a powerhouse. It was show.
Powerhouses.
And then the
Wow.
next month, I think Mike McDonald had just recovered from his surgeries.
Right.
Like it'd been like a year since he had everything
right,
go
since
down.
his
So
transplant and everything.
yeah, his transplant and everything. So I had him, Tim Rial, Colin O'Brien, and oh God, I can't remember who the last person was, but it was like another.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just great.
Those banger shows.
It was banger shows.
Wow.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
It was good to have him come up, and yeah, I never
and this
lost
was in
it.
Pembroke.
Yeah, this is Pembroke.
Wow,
yeah.
wow,
At
wow.
West Side's Tap and Grill, and then later it became the Thirsty Beaver. Yes, it's not a lesbian bar. The Thirsty Beaver. And the first time I ever hosted anything was for Kyle Brownrigg and Josh Williams, and Kyle middled. And it was at the Thirsty Beaver, and that was the first
Wow.
thing I came up was Kyle's like, Chris told me this was at the Thirsty Beaver. I thought this was going to be a lesbian bar. I'm very disappointed. I'm like, so yeah, I've had some people. I've been producing
I love
stuff
Kyle.
for a while.
He's so funny.
Yeah, Kyle's great.
Yeah, he's great. He's
Absolutely.
great.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What a those are incredible lineups.
yeah. I have actually have all the posters still originally that Nick Perron made, and Nick came up and we did a bunch of backyard shows. Somebody actually hired me for one of my first independent corporates because of one of those shows.
Okay.
And again, it was Watson, Perron, because he was making all the posters, myself, and then Josh Williams, because I've known Josh Williams for a long period of time. And it was a backyard show, and the cops ended up getting called.
Wow.
Because we were that loud. We shut
Having
everything
too much
down.
fun.
Yeah, there was way too much laughter that somebody was just like, fuck you. You know
Someone's
what I
like,
mean?
wow, laughter.
Yeah, so yeah, can't have that. So the show got shut down, and then the cops left, and then we turned it back on at half volume. And yeah,
Oh
it was
my
fun. It was
God.
fun. It was the first corporate I ever got. First independent corporate air quotes.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's
what a
yourself? You got
legacy.
started what? 17?
19.
19. Okay. Yeah.
when
Okay.
I started here because I moved to Ottawa in February of 19.
Yeah.
And I did my first set in September of
Right.
19.
I remember hosting a certain night at Poor Boy that you were actually in the
Yes,
audience.
Yes.
And
I got a lotto.
you got the lotto. Yeah.
I was
like,
there
oh,
with my
yeah.
friend Andrew, and we both got lottos.
Yeah, you did. You
Yeah.
both did. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was I think December or January.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was either December-ish or January because I remember I was like gearing up for my first time at Yuck Yucks.
Oh, yeah.
So I was trying to get as many spots and doing all the going to all the lotto shows.
Yeah.
And we both happened to get
Yeah, I remember
lotto
that.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were hosting. That's
Well,
true.
that was fun.
Yeah, you were hosting. I think
Was
that's
that-
the first time we met.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
was like, that's where they had the stage by the left-hand side before, in the back
Yes,
corner.
exactly.
And then they
when you
moved it.
walk in, it usually
Yeah,
was
it was,
back
it was
by
in
the
the back
windows.
left corner,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I like it better now, but I also want to like bring them another stage light because every time I'm at another stage light, right? Because
Oh,
they're
yes, yes.
their lighting is like just the weirdest. You have to like
and
step.
it's better where it is now,
Oh,
like
absolutely.
near the front,
Yeah,
but at the back,
At
the old spot, it was really dark.
it was super dark. There was no stage
and
light.
you felt
and
kind
it
of
was-
cornered. It felt
Yeah,
it
like,
was just a weird
you couldn't-
setup.
You could connect with everybody, but it was not like a good connection because
Yes,
you know.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's the setup is much better now. I think.
Yes, I
It's
do
much-
agree, but I'm going to bring them another stage light because
more light, more
nothing
light.
like having half your face lit and then portions of your shoulder.
You're just a shadow.
You're just like, hello.
It has that Phantom of the Opera
Yeah.
thing. Very But that's that's where I think that was the first time we met, and I did a lotto spot because I remember preparing for my first. I think it was my first NTS, and that was late January.
Yeah.
So this could have been early January.
it
or
might have been
December
early
or
January.
something like that.
Just before the world shut up, see?
Yes, the year before. That was
Yeah,
the year
that was
before.
weird.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then I remember doing. I think it was a Monday night at Absolute, and I can't remember if you were hosting that show, or if you were on it. if you were in the lineup or if you were hosting. But I remember you were there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. It's Mondays are always a fun blur down there. Like I remember. I think the first time I ever met John Doerr was there. When he was in town. Yeah, and it was great. And I was across the street before weed was legal. And they had the weed dispensary, which is now a mushroom dispensary.
Oh, yes.
Right across the street.
Shroomies.
Which is, like, nobody's hiding shit anymore. We're just like, I'm about to see Cokies. And it's just down the street. Like, yeah, how's it going? Nothing. Not too bad. Free Noxalone kit with every gram. Like, what the fuck?
Cokies.
Cokies. You're not trying to sugarcoat. Like, come on. We're not even trying anymore. We're just like, hey, America.
I thought it was legal. And it's like, no, mushrooms aren't legal.
Psilocybins aren't, no, but they're like so close to being there as well. They're like, it's the same with Amsterdam. They're not 100% legal, but they're not going to bother anybody for it type of thing. Right. And I mean, at the end of it, we're all a bunch of drug addicts in one form or another. Right. Like shopping.
Yes.
Food, liquor, drugs. Right. We're all trying to escape the crazy pain that is life, right? So
that's for sure.
Or at least just grab those endorphins as much as we can.
Exactly.
So I mean, like,
however you get them, yeah. I got them from food and shopping over the pandemic for sure.
Nice.
You know?
Yeah, I get the pandemic. Yeah, I leaned a lot into the liquor and pandemic too. Yeah. It was weird because, like, for me, I didn't lose any work, right, with construction. I didn't lose any. Like, I was so busy that I had, like, brothers come out from out west to, like, help me do work. So what I lost was friends, connection, my art, everything like that. But on the upside, no traffic. What? Which was also very surreal to be stuck on the 417 on a Friday afternoon, but not stuck on it at all and just driving past.
Driving through, like, exactly. Yeah, because I worked throughout as well, but I worked from home.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the connection. It was like I became feral just because I was in the house all the time. Yeah. In the house all the time. Yeah. And trying to feel good. It was like I ate and I drank and, you know.
When booze and food gets delivered at the touch of a button.
Exactly.
Right?
Like I don't have to leave. Ever. Everything just comes, and I would order stuff from Amazon. You know, so I had packages coming. It was just something, that endorphin, you know.
It's like, oh my God, it got here quick. Yeah. It's important. Exactly.
Yay. This feels good.
Yay. Never mind what you ordered, but it doesn't matter.
I heard it's such garbage. So much garbage.
Yeah.
So much useless. Like, I wasted so much money. Like, it,
I know, right? When you look at it, you're like,
yeah, it's like, did I need that? Like, one of the things I bought was, and I was like, oh, it's practical, it makes sense, and I bought one for my sister and my brother-in-law and shipped it. It was a thing like this, like, it looks like a key.
Okay.
So you could push buttons.
Oh, so
you don't have to use your finger.
And it also had the door hook opener.
Yeah, it looks like a.
I've seen that.
Like a loop with a thing,
yeah.
And I was like, I could have used my key. I could use
literally
anything.
Yeah.
And I paid what, $25 a piece.
Oh my God.
For these things.
They were surge pricing.
It was insane, but I was like, gotta have it.
Gotta
practical.
have. Oh man, super smart.
It's safe. I'm gonna save my life. I'm not gonna die because I've got this thing, and it was just like, you know.
Meanwhile, it's like you could have used a coat hanger.
I could have used anything.
Literally anything.
Even my finger, I could have used that. But no.
Nope.
And I remember sending it to my sister, and I was like so proud. I was like, oh, I sent this thing for you and Dan. It's going to change your life. And she was like, what the fuck is this?
She sent me a useless can opener.
Exactly. She's like, I hope you didn't pay a lot of money for this. And I was like, no, it was like $25. And she's like, that's a lot of money for this
piece of wire.
This piece of metal. Like, you idiot. Like this. Yeah, so I did stupid things like that.
Yeah.
I did stupid purchases like that just to feel alive. You know?
Yeah, I hear you though. Everybody had to grasp onto something. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Like, that was just a wild time.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. And you know, as a side note, I was expecting the end of the world to have way more casualties. Like, please, could you maybe take A quarter of us, like it was promised. A third, everything was supposed to be gone. You know, that would probably solved a lot of stuff.
I'm still waiting for those murder hornets.
Right?
And then, like, the locusts and everything else. Because there was a period of time where it was like, what else are they predicting
Yeah.
that's going to come?
End of the world, freaking bingo. Meanwhile, the rest of the world, like, what really always got me that was seeing the Vatican or the Venice canals clear.
Yes.
Like those things were just like, and like the smog over China gone, and like
Yeah, that was
just a lot of
incredible
stuff
to
makes you
see.
go, you know, if Thanos did the old snapperoonie, and there half of us were gone, the planet's gonna still keep going.
The
Like
planet's
this-
going to heal itself.
Yeah, and it's gonna
which
go.
is what
Oh
happened.
wow! I'm super glad that cancer took care of itself. It was like, which doesn't happen, but you know,
But it was so strange. And I know the point where I started to be like, I'm starting to freak out
Yeah.
is when I was afraid to go outside.
that's
Because it was
weird.
like,
Yeah.
oh, because remember there was at one point it was like, you can only be outside if you're going to the doctor or if you're exercising. Like there
Yeah.
were these rules.
There was these
on
rules
why
that-
you couldn't be outside, and I was like, I can't.
Yeah, no, neither. I don't need either. I can see my doctor virtually.
Exactly. Oh
Just
my
fucked,
God,
but-
it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Right.
And then there was another thing that just it came to me and it just slipped my mind, but I might think of it later.
I loved hearing the radio things. Unprecedented times. Unprecedented times. Like, fuck, man. Yeah, we get it.
We get it.
We get it.
get
Please.
it.
Oh, wait. Can you flog that dead horse just a little longer? It was wild. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a wild time.
I
for
mean,
sure.
and we're both of the generation that we've like, I was 21 with 9/11.
Yeah, I was 33.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go, right? There's that, like, this isn't our first rodeo of some
Mhm.
scary shit with fear
Yes.
going on, right?
Yes.
But with that, it was such of America's problem kind of a thing. And then this was truly, it's everybody's fucking problem.
yeah.
Way to go.
Oh yeah.
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 So,
Just the evolution of it, because I remember like because I think I remember hearing about it on the news or something like December or something
Yeah.
like that. But it was like far away.
yeah.
And then January a little bit more. But I also lived in Toronto during SARS.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
I was like,
Whatever.
it's whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Like, yeah, like we survived it. There was no big. I know that Toronto did take a hit in terms of tourism and things like that, but we weren't shut down. We weren't
No.
quarantined or anything like that. So I was thinking that way, no big deal.
Yeah, this isn't going to be huge.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody had that. Yeah, we're going to lock everybody up for like
Yeah.
3 months.
Exactly. And then I remember I went away for my birthday. So this was early March with my sister, brother-in-law, and a couple of friends. We went to Jamaica.
Yeah.
And going there was no issue. The only difference, like my sister and brother-in-law travel a lot, so they go to resorts. So they were like, "Oh, things are a little bit different," but I'd never really gone, so
Right.
it looked fine to me. The only thing I noticed is that nobody was like shaking hands, like the
Right.
staff weren't like shaking
Yeah.
hands and stuff like that. Where I was like, that's fine, whatever. But when we were leaving, so a week later, this would have been like March 12th.
Oh, just before
something, yeah.
everything locked.
That's when stuff started, like more. You're hearing more and more
Yeah.
stuff. I had a friend at the time who had gone to Italy, and Italy was hit very
Yeah,
badly.
huge. Yeah.
And so when he came back, he had to quarantine. And I remember being at the airport. Yeah, it was about the 12th in Jamaica, and watching the screens in the waiting room of people.
Ding, ding, ding,
No, our
ding.
flight didn't get canceled, but it was
Oh.
like the news reports of people fighting over toilet paper and all of
Oh,
these,
right. Yeah.
hoarding like disinfectant wipes and hand sanitizer. And I was like, what did we miss? Like, what
Yeah.
the hell did we miss?
I hindsight, like months before that, when I would be walking through Costco and I'd pick up Costco levels of toilet paper for the household, I'd randomly just say, if the end of the world happens, this is the new currency. And jokingly, I'd put it, and I put it in the bin. And I guess all the Canada moms were like, yeah, it is currency. Yeah. Fuck it. 'Cause nobody's ever going to say that guy's crazy. But then secretly they're like, oh, we're going to take that information and store it.
Exactly.
I still know a guy in Canada. He's like, yeah, I'm still working through my Costco
stash.
levels of his stash. I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah, because I remember just being like, that is insane. Like,
Yeah.
what did we miss? And
What do
then
we,
it was crazy. And then by the time we landed, I think before we took off, like places started telling people that, okay, if you travel to this country or this country, you have to quarantine when you get home.
Yeah.
And then Quebec, because I drove to Montreal and flew out of Montreal with my sister.
Cheaper.
And and it's just more convenient. And by the time we landed, I think Quebec had said if you flew from anywhere, wherever you came from, regardless, quarantine for 2 weeks. And I was afraid. I was like, okay, I got to get back to Ottawa because I didn't want to be stuck there. So I was planning to leave, like to drive back on the Friday.
Yeah.
Back to Ottawa. I left that night. So we landed, went back to my sister's house, got the car, and drove back. And then
way to be patient zero for the sick. You're stopping every.
It was me, Ottawa. Sorry.
Blazed a path out of Montreal through Quebec. Stopped at a couple of roadsides. Sneezed on handles.
But I remember calling work or emailing work saying, what's going on with you guys, and I'll come and get my laptop. And my boss was like, no, I'll meet you somewhere and we'll do an exchange. I was like, okay.
Parking lot drug deal for a laptop. Nice.
So I met her the Saturday, got my laptop, and then the Monday, everything shut down.
Yeah.
The whole world shut down.
Yeah. Weird. I was just starting shows at Kitchissippi Brewery, and it was Friday the 13th.
Yes.
And that was like, was it Saturday the 14th? They're going to start shutting everything down or whatever it was. And the venue was like, we'll still go ahead with this. I'm like, okay, for sure. Yeah. I only had 4 people cancel out of 65. So I was like, yeah, show's going to go on.
Yeah, I went to an impromptu show.
And and then we actually I only had one performer cancel because she was like, I just don't know. And I'm like, and that's okay, man. If you don't want to ever do my shows. No, just kidding. We got her on another show later. But it was, I get it, right? Nobody knew. Mm-hmm. And Trevor Thompson was headliner. Tim Riel hosted, and that was it. That was like, and then I was like, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Yeah. Scandalous lies that you know.
Oh my God. Because I remember I went to the Saturday, I went to a Swizzles. Because remember once in a while Swizzles would have a show
they were
on
doing a
Saturday.
monthly on a Saturday?
Yeah, they were doing a monthly or something on a Saturday, and they had one. I can't remember if it was like an impromptu one or if it was a planned one. And I went. I was like, okay, I'll go. Because I was like itching to perform because I hadn't performed in a week.
Yeah.
Because I was away.
Give me the drugs.
Give it to me.
Yeah.
And so I remember going to that, and some people had, actually, it was a booked show, but some people had dropped out, and they changed it to a lotto.
Oh, nice.
Or changed it to a lotto, and then it ended up being a show up, go up.
Nice.
So that was the last time I performed, and I was scheduled to be on the Monday show, and the Monday show got canceled that afternoon or something.
Do you remember your first show back?
My first live show back?
Yeah.
That would have been in Kingston.
Yeah, same here.
Absolute.
At Kingston?
Yeah,
for sure.
Kingston in, was it July? No, it was, I think, August.
Yeah, it was August sometime, and then I ended up having a week in September with Jen and Julian. I ended up middling there, and then but yeah, in August we came up. Me and Champ came up and did a Saturday or something like that. Casey Corbin and Rochelle, and that was one of our first show back. The first one I got booked back was supposed to be on a Sunday in Ottawa, and I was just like, oh my God, sweet. And my wife's like, yeah, thank you, sweet. You need comedy in your life, otherwise you're kind of a dickhead. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. And she's like, go
find a show.
Yeah, go find. And they're getting back on. She's like, oh, thank God, right? And I'm like, yay. And then she walked out to our trailer, and then she walked out. She got stung in the temple by a wasp.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember you. Yes. I
she
remember
got
you
stung in
telling
the face, and then I was just like. She's like, I can't breathe. I'm like, we're going to the hospital. And I'm in full stage clothes.
I was supposed to be somewhere with you, and you were like, I can't come because my wife got hurt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that. Oh, my God.
Yeah, and anyway, so I drop her off, and you're not allowed in the hospital. So I'm just like,
See you.
Bye. And then she went
Good
inside
luck.
and I'm like looking at the time. I'm like, am I gonna make this show? I could make this show. And then I get in the car and I'm like, I shouldn't make this show. I'm a worse, horrible husband if I go into this show. And then
Imagine they called you back.
yeah,
I
well,
can't.
I can't. Yeah, no. Well, I called them.
I'm up.
I
I'm
called
almost
them.
up.
Yeah, I was like, my wife's actually in the ER right now, and she got stung, anaphylactic, and they're like, we'll just rebook you. I'm like, okay. And then I drove around the corner to Matt Champ's place, and I just started like I cracked a beer and just chugged like half of it, like fuck my life. And then the wife called me. She's like, yeah, so. I'm gonna be here till like way after midnight. You should go to your show. Baby, I love you. Thank you for that, but I've already canceled.
I
And
think
she's
you
like,
did the right thing.
I did,
You
yeah.
did. You did the right thing. Because if
Did
you had
just
been
be
like,
like-
I was there already.
yeah, I knew
here.
that was gonna happen
I'm here.
because I'm psychic. Right?
I'm already here. Thanks.
They gave her some
But
shots.
I know the first live show that I went back to was in Kingston in
Yeah.
July, and then they booked me. Allison booked me. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks later, and it was in August, and like behind the plexiglass.
Yeah, that was fun.
And it
right?
all spaced out, and it was weird.
It was weird.
Yeah,
it was very
weird.
weird.
But like everything else, you adjust to it.
Yeah,
You know.
Yeah, it
but
was-
I never got used to that sensation of being behind the plexiglass.
Right.
It was so weird.
well, I'd been in Remand a couple times, so I got that. You know, that's fine. Well, look at the glass. Yay.
And just seeing your reflection, and it was hot in there.
Yes, that was the
It was
biggest thing.
hot.
Is like normally the mirrors at the back of the room, so you can see yourself at the
Yeah.
back of the room. But that
Yeah.
there was right fucking.
And you, I felt like I couldn't hear properly.
that was also a
in
thing
there,
for
'cause
sure.
It was
'cause
like, oh, I'm bombing. Like,
yeah,
nobody's-
no. You're getting laughs. It's just because
can't hear
everybody's
the
spread out and they can't hear it through the
And
plexiglass.
there's
You're
7
just like,
people,
yeah, and yeah,
7 people 80 feet away from
yeah,
you.
80 feet away from each other. Yeah, and they were really interesting as you came back. Like audiences, they were like, they were just like not. They were appreciative, obviously,
Mhm.
enjoying comedy, but they were also like, when they were really enjoying something at a table, it was like obviously some of their first times together in a long time. So
Yeah.
they would like tag on like a Friday night late.
Yes,
Oh
yes.
my God, that reminds me of this. And you just have to let them
Shut up.
sit and reset. You good? All right, let's go on here.
Because
'Cause
it's true. It's like we almost forgot how to behave in public.
Yeah. Oh,
You
for
know,
sure.
yeah, just-
And some people still haven't remembered at fucking all.
It's true.
Wow.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Well,
Because I find people are watching, like people are coming to comedy shows and reacting like they're in their living room.
yeah, that's the
So they're
craziest thing.
talking to each other, or they're just staring.
Yeah. Like
staring
those are the
they're-
real high ones. They're like, how stoned did those shrooms from across the street were really real. Yeah. They sure were. They sure were.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I know it's good to be back though. I mean, like
for
especially
sure.
after the plexiglass came down in November of last year, October. No, yeah, I can't remember.
It was
I haven't
21?
21 or 20.
Sometime in 21.
Yeah, sometime in 21, November 21, late 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Late 21.
Late 21, and it was like, yeah, it was cool. It was good to
Mhm.
have that kind of sort of back to normal, especially
Yeah.
when you could spit on people in the audience.
I'm so glad to spit on people again.
Yeah.
And yeah, having people like, because that's the thing with the comedy club is people sitting very close together.
Yeah,
Like that's the whole.
that's the whole thing.
Because-
Is you're
because
it's an
laughter is
intimate-
contagious.
Yeah,
and
it's there.
yeah, laughter like everything else is
It's contagious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the way through.
All the way
exactly.
through, everyone dying.
What's been, if you can recall, what's your best show experience, or your best comedy experience, and your worst comedy experience?
Oh, best comedy. Well, my first theater middle for Mike McDonald in like 2018 was pretty cool in Cornwall. That's kind of thing most memorable. One of the most memorable things I think that happened this year is that after my first night of hosting at the beginning of April, I had somebody come up from me from the Canadian Commission of the Arts for this business card, and it just said, email me.
Wow.
And I was like, I didn't get a JFL showcase, but this means a lot to me right now.
That's awesome.
It's so cool.
That's so cool.
The worst comedy experience. Oh, man. I try not to dwell on those. Anytime you bomb and it never works. No, that's a good learning experience. Oh, man, I've had... Oh, okay, you know Finnegan's is back,
yes,
right?
Yes.
One of the second or third times I think I ever did Ottawa, a summer show, was in June there, and it was back in like 2011 or 10 or 11, and it was so hot.
Oh.
Like there was no air conditioning in the place, and 10 people on the show, and
so a long
show. I'm near the end of it, and just you're playing to the bar in the back of the room, and it was just so hot. It was like literally, I think the first summer I ever realized it. I'm like, fuck, pools aren't luxury here; they're a necessity. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
So that was pretty bad. Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh my God. But yeah, I'm sure. Like I've never produced a show live. Like the most I've done is like an online show, and that was a lot of work. So I can't even imagine doing a live show.
Yeah, producing is it's a wonderful high as well. Like there's stage high after you tell a joke. It's pretty much instant gratification. But when when people are done after a show and you could tell they've had so much great time because you put together this treat for them that they paid for. You know, it's not as instantly gratificating, but it is also very. Oh, there's a high off of it for sure.
I can see that.
And there's also a lot of stress into it too, because like usually we only get stressed out before we're like about to take a stage, or we're figuring out, or we're doing something new. Yeah. With production,
it's the whole time.
Yeah, there's a month
leading up to.
There's a month leading up to it.
Yes.
Like, am I going to sell enough tickets? Is this going to work? Solving the production values with the venue, like each venue is different. Am I bringing sound? Am I bringing lighting? Am I bringing my mics? And I end up just because of the COVID, and it forced me to buy my own mics and my own cords and stuff. Yes. But now every time I'm in my bag, do I have my little swag? Do I have mic and a 25-foot cord? Yes. Okay, let's go. Right? Like, so it's like kind of just your tools you pack for
just
lunch.
Like with this.
Yeah, exactly. With your pot, everything set up.
Because all I had to do, because I carry everything else all the time when I perform, because I record. Yeah. So it was just a matter of like the mics, these mics for the recorder,
Horrible mic. Shout out to mic people. Yeah, mic people. My Shure 320 or 328 is a beast. That thing, comics have dropped it. I've put many heavy things onto it. Yes. It's a good mic.
Yes, I have like my stage mic is a Shure 58.
Yeah, 58. That's it.
I've got that upstairs. But these are pretty good.
Cool.
These are, I think they're Pile. And two. Can't remember which they worked out to like $25 or $30 each.
Oh, that's pretty decent.
Yeah, which is pretty decent. No, that's very good.
Yeah.
Much less expensive than the Shure.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Not sponsored by Shure, but
not at all. But please sponsor.
Please do.
Shure and Aquafina. Combinations that don't go together. Mics and waters.
Electronics and water.
Yeah. Just like Simpsons with nuts and gum. Yeah.
Nuts and gum. Oh my God.
Together at last. You. All sorts of you. Yeah. There's been some. Yeah, I think one of the crappiest shows I've kind of pushed out. But yeah, where you just go up to crickets, or like no one's wanting comedy and you're there doing that. God. Yeah.
Would you prefer, like, say you had to choose the type of bad show? Would you prefer crickets or unruly people, like people just talking or doing whatever the fuck they want?
Oh, I'd prefer unruly people.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I could probably go crazy enough Marv to get their attention for maybe a couple of seconds. Pull the hair down. Right, what the fuck's going on over here? Just pull out the inner valley boy and just, fuck bud, yep, and roll with it. Crickets is like, that's a feeling that I'd I'd rather have a harder job knowing that I could get to there as opposed to like
Just
I've
silence.
done good stuff with silence. Oh, ooh, because I've had
just
that
a bunch
too.
of faces.
Just a
staring
bunch of
back.
faces like,
Yeah, that's hard.
ooh.
That's true.
am I on a French comedy show and I'm speaking English? Tab or
That's
fuck,
true.
right?
A tabernacle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a moment when they're just staring back at you with no reaction.
Yeah, like they
That's like
catch it. And
Yeah.
actually, the first time I ever did a weed room was like that. Like
Oh,
you-
really?
Yeah, for sure. But then there was like a time delay. There was like a weed time delay, right? And you tell the joke, and you're like, now the laughter happens, and it's just about to start the next joke. And ha 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 ha. Oh, fuck! You just. Wow. And
That's so
both times
funny.
I've done a weed lounge, it's been like that.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, the second
Okay.
time was better in Edmonton, but like just this past fall, Sterling, you know Sterling?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Sterling's got a room out there, and it's private invite. It's like a low-key smoke lounge. And in the back, it looks like a vaudeville, beautiful stage.
Oh, wow.
But it's like full-on whatever smoke. Like you could smoke cigarettes, you could smoke cigars, whatever you want in there.
Wow.
Small little bar in there too, and then obviously because it's a private club,
Mhm.
right? I ended up sitting out just outside the showroom on the lowest chase lounge I could just to get away from the level of smoke.
Yeah, just like under.
And I know it's just like laid back.
So the smoke is just.
So it's like way over my head. And a couple of after I was done my spot, they're like, "Oh, that's a great set. Why are you getting so low here?" I'm like,
on the ground.
dude, just drop right down here. And he dropped low. He's like, "Oh my God, there's air down here." I'm like, yeah. And as soon as he sat down, he's like, "I'm really high." I'm like, yeah, you are. So that was weird.
That's so
But yeah, the first
funny.
one was Reese Turner does
Okay.
does a show in. I'm not sure if he's still doing it, but it's like a farmer's market for weed vendors and like private
okay.
edibles. But then they also attach a comedy show to that too, and it's like the swag package for that is bar none. Like
can
man,
imagine.
it was. I got paid, money as well as a giant bag of dope of all kind of things, which is great because I brought it home for my wife and she was like, "Oh my God, it's like a smorgasbord." Yeah. Meanwhile, it was one of those gummies that you're like, "Why do I hate my life? Oh my God." A little strong for me. This is what I was getting at. A little strong for myself, but
Yeah, I'm doing a weed show, in like a couple of weeks. So
yeah. So just be aware.
okay, I'll be aware.
Be aware.
I'll
There's a
think of the
time delay. There's a time delay, and like even this is that's thunderous laughter. Okay,
True.
like
That's good to know.
it will. It's to say it's a slow burn. It's not just the joints. It is literally everything in that audience's mind. Because
Oh, that's so funny.
yeah, it'll be fun. It's a good experience. They're all gonna have fun.
Yeah.
And like regular audiences, they're not gonna remember anything afterwards.
Because David Brennan has this hilarious joke where he did a show for, I think the staff at Shroomies or mushroom people who just had taken mushrooms, and he said, "I didn't have to say anything.
it just stayed
They
there.
were just like into it."
Yeah. I think I've heard
so
that.
Funny.
Yeah. Taffet
It was
shrooms.
something along the lines of he didn't have to do anything. Like, it was like the best gig
Yeah.
ever.
I
They
just-
loved him and he did nothing because they were so
I just walked around like this. Hey.
so funny. So funny. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, never underestimate the power of a hallucinogen. That's for sure. It's pretty crazy.
If you could give your 2007 self advice, like your present day self
Yeah.
gives your about to start stand up self
Oh.
advice, like what piece of advice would you give them that you wish you knew, that you know now that you wish you knew then?
Move the mic stand. Don't shit on the MC.
That's good advice. That's good advice.
Slow down.
Slow
Those
down,
three
yes.
pieces right there. Move
Yes.
the mic stand. Don't shit on the MC. Slow
Or the
down.
venue.
Or the
Yeah.
venue. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I learned that one early too. That
Mm.
like don't shit on the venue,
Yeah.
and especially don't shit on an audience for being there. Like they
Yeah,
made the
yeah.
decision to be entertained, and if just because it doesn't meet up to your expectations of
Yeah.
volume for people, doesn't
Yes.
mean it's gonna be a bad time.
Yeah,
Because I've
for
had
sure.
rooms of 90 feel like hit way worse than a room of a dozen and a half.
Same. Yes.
You know what I mean? And you're like, who's in it to win it, and who's really enjoying this, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, don't those three things for
Okay,
sure.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, the mic stand, because I remember, I think it was last year, and this was a new person. I don't remember who they were, but it was a new person, and they took the mic out of the stand and left it there.
Yeah.
And I was like fixated on that stand.
Yeah.
I was like, move the stand,
Like,
move the
move the
stand.
stand.
He's not moving the stand.
Not moving
Move the stand. Move the stand. Move
Yeah.
the stand.
Move it, please.
Move the goddamn stand. I was just fixed on it. I'm sure the other comics noticed, but I'm sure the audience didn't notice everything. But that was the first thing. I was like, watched him take it out, and I was like, he didn't move the stand. And I was like, I don't remember a joke. I couldn't tell you a joke or
Yeah,
anything he
anything.
talked about. I was just
Yeah, he didn't move the
focused on
stand.
that.
Yeah,
that
for
stand.
sure. And I didn't move it the first time. I didn't move it far enough, and I almost tripped on it coming
Oh.
back over it. So it felt like I was extra nervous and stuff. So just move the thing and reset the stage, for fuck's sakes.
Yes, and put it back.
Yeah,
I've
then
seen
put it
people
back.
Not move it back either.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people do that. Totally.
You just leave
Yeah.
it off to the side and stuff.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
you notice that more when you start hosting too. Who like
Yes.
doesn't reset the
Yes.
stage and
Because
like.
then you have to do it.
Yeah, and I'm like,
You
oh,
have to
wasn't that great that I'm doing more work here? Sons of bitches. That's a good time.
Yeah, this has been fun. This
yeah,
has
it's
been fun.
it's interesting, and I don't know. I think another thing would be like in the last couple of years, I haven't been drinking before shows. Like I used to have like one or two,
Yeah.
and then when I got up there, and I'd have a couple more afterwards. Now I'm like, I'll wait till I'm done. I'll wait till
Yes.
I'm more in control, get
Yes.
a cleaner experience, and then especially when you're hosting and doing other things like that too, you
Yes.
you have
need to be
so
on,
you need to be in control and steering a
Exactly.
ship. And hey, my friends are coming up, so be good.
Yes.
And
yes.
you have to have your faculties about you.
Exactly.
So that's been a big thing I think in the last couple years that I've just been like, no,
Mhm.
I'll wait till I'm
yeah,
done. And
because you need your reaction time and stuff like that.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And sometimes if a double tequila and a soda will be, depending on what you've had in your stomach that day,
Mhm.
can hit you like 4 drinks,
Yes,
right? So then you're like,
yes.
whoa, I wanted to do all these things, and you forget the things.
Yeah,
So yeah,
exactly. That's a good one. Yeah.
yeah.
Because I
that's a-
usually I might have one before. It depends on where I am in the lineup.
yeah.
Like if I'm towards the end or something, I might have one. Like say when I get to the venue,
Yeah.
because it's going to be like, but I get there fairly early, so it could be like an hour before I'm on.
Yeah, it's a
So,
little different than
Yeah.
like tossing a couple shots back
Right.
and then heading up onto the
Yeah,
stage and
yeah.
stuff like that too, for sure.
Yeah.
And
Was it-
I literally took all of May off.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, this past May, it was just like, I did 20 shows in 30 days in April. I think
Yeah.
I'm going to be okay for a bit.
Yes,
And I did
yes.
maybe one guest spot in my own room because someone didn't show up. And I was like,
Okay.
that's fine.
Okay.
So May's been crickets, and then June is gearing up to more stuff again. But
Good. Yeah, for me, March, April, and May. May was like, May, the last half of May has been okay. March and April were very, very quiet, but I was like crazy busy.
yeah.
Like February was insane. I was like, how am I still alive in February? So it was like, it was good to have like that time off, but at the same time, like when a week would go by and it's been like 8 days since I performed. It's like,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
still get that
yeah,
too,
it's like
for
I'm-
sure. It was tough. And
yeah, it's
the
hard.
the kicker part of that is if you get that itch and you can't go anywhere, just write a few things down.
Yeah.
Like even if you were just, I was thinking of this as a concept to just kind
do
of
something
do
comedy
something
related.
comedy related,
Yeah,
other
to get the fix, it's
help
true.
produce more shows, do things like that, and
Yeah.
otherwise you just go insane, and then you're chasing a show, and you're like, why am I chasing a show? I don't need to
Yeah.
You know?
Or you're chasing a show that you really don't want to do. Or,
That's
you know,
it.
Just to
Or
do
if you get
something.
it, you're like, I didn't want to do this show. Why am I at Ralph's?
Yeah, because you were like... Because you were manic at the time.
Because you're like, I need this right now.
I need a show.
Yeah. It's like when you
Like, I
pick
didn't
up
need it.
drugs. Like I wanted them then.
I don't want them now.
I don't want them now.
Yeah, I wanted it 6 days ago, not now.
Not now.
I was a different person back then.
Yeah.
When I made that decision.
Yeah. Different person.
Different person. So would you like to play a game that I call Crazy Questions?
Let's do it.
Okay. So they're numbered 1 to 249. I used to have 250,
Holy
but
shit.
I deleted one.
Just one to make it even.
I never replaced it.
No, okay.
So I'll ask you a few. What I'll do is I'll ask you to pick a number, and I will ask you
48.
correspondent. 48? Okay, just one.
High school football number. What?
48? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get to 48. How old is the most expired item in your fridge?
How old is the most expired item in my fridge? Probably 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, wow. Do you know what it is?
Yeah, I think it's a cottage cheese container that might have actually leftovers into it, but I'm too afraid to find out right now. I don't want to open it. I'm probably just going to throw it away.
Don't even open it.
Yeah.
So it'll be opening like, what's the, not Pandora's box, but like some portal to hell or something. Nothing good will happen from opening that container.
Chris's cottage cheese container. It's both alive and dead at the same time. Don't just leave it alone. It could be nummy, but it's not going to be.
It could be something.
It could be something, but it's not.
Unleashing a demon.
Yeah. Yes. Putting salt rings around it like it's fucking supernatural. Ha ha! You can't get away from me now. Do my bidding. Sour cream demon.
The sour cream demon.
Sour cream demon sounds horrible in itself.
It's true. That sounds ominous and
Yeah.
deadly.
It's like-
Okay, please pick another number.
Okay, we'll go with 53.
53?
Yeah.
If you could have a celebrity as your BFF, who would it be?
Oh. God, I think I just want to drink with Bert Kreischer all the time. I'd just be able to call Bert up and be like, Bert, can we just go get drunk somewhere? And he'd be like, yeah, I'm already there. That'd be a comedian friend. A famous person, though, would be, oh, God. No, just like, he did all the Pineapple Express movies.
Oh, Seth Rogen?
Yeah, Seth.
Okay.
I think it'd be Seth for sure. Because I'm like his stunt double a little bit, you know? He could play me in my movie or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, Seth Rogen. Yeah.
Seth Rogen. Okay, cool. Okay, another number.
Okay, 28.
28. If you were a drink, what would you be?
Oh, I'd be liquid heroin.
Liquid heroin.
Liquid heroin is 2 shots of premium vodka, 1 shot of Chambord, shaken over a martini mix with cranberry juice, and then it's put into a martini glass and topped with pineapple juice.
That sounds delicious.
It is very delicious.
It's called liquid heroin?
Liquid heroin.
That sounds amazing.
Vodka, Chambord, cranberry, pineapple. You can't have too much of me, though. You will
It'll
drunk.
kill you.
It will kill you. It will
It
literally
will
kill you.
Okay, let's do another one.
10.
10? Okay. These questions range from silly to
Too
stupid
to
to
serious to-
profound to
yeah.
so just have that in mind.
Okay.
Which animal would make the best type of president if the animal kingdom ever rises up and takes over?
Badger.
Badger.
A honey badger, to be specific. He's not going to take shit from anywhere. I'm not sure if he'd be great. He'd probably maul a lot of people on the way. But he wants that job. Don't fuck around with President Honey Badger.
President Honey Badger.
HP in 2024.
It'd probably be better than
Make
the
nature great
candidates.
again.
Make nature great again. Make nature great again.
When was it great? When the humans weren't here. That's what we're doing.
Before people came along.
Before people came along, yeah.
With their roads
Yeah.
and their houses.
Their irrigation.
Make nature great again.
Yeah,
That's
make nature great
hilarious.
again.
Oh my God. Okay, let's do one more.
All right, cool. Randomly 69.
69. Okay. All right, 69.
Okay.
What's the closest you've ever come to being arrested?
Oh, I've been arrested.
You have been arrested?
The closest, though, without being actually arrested? Oh, God. Let's just say meth's a hell of a drug.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Okay.
I got pulled over driving a friend of mine to work. We stopped over at Max Milk to get. She got out to get smokes, and I was in the car, and all of a sudden a cop car and a squad car pulled up behind me, pinned me in, and a cop came up to the window and was like, "Put your hands where I could see them," and I'm like, "Abso-fucking-lutely."
Yeah.
Right? And I had just closed my ashtray where a bunch of drugs were. Like,
Oh.
it looked like folded up credit cards, so it didn't like any. And I closed it and I stepped out and I'm like, "What's this about?" They're like, "Your car is stolen." I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, absolutely. Can you have a registration?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's right. You want me to grab it?" He's like, "Yeah, okay, go ahead." And I handed it to him and I stepped out and they cuffed me. And I looked over and the girl who went out and got cigarettes just like walked
What the
right up to
fuck?
the car, pulled her purse out and just started walking away like, "Oh, well, Kris is screwed over. Bye-bye."
See you
Right?
later.
And like,
Oh, wow.
and then
That's cold.
it was cold.
That's
Cold as shit.
cold.
She's like, "I got to get to work. See ya."
That's
You know, it's like, holy
Wow.
fuck.
Not even a, are you okay?
No, she just looked at me like, "Ha ha, see ya." Right? Like, this is your fault, like, not mine. She just kept walking, right? And then
That's a boss move.
it was super
that's
boss. She
bold.
was bold, cold as ice. This woman, that was great.
Yeah, I gotta go.
I gotta go.
Yeah, I have things to
This
do.
was stupid, right? And then as soon as they read the registration, I guess the lady at the registries put one number wrong.
Oh.
And my car was not listed as stolen. It was just a
Oh.
deficiency. So that was the closest I'd ever been to being arrested.
A
I had
typo.
drugs in my goddamn
Drugs
in the
car.
ashtray, and then I also had a big giant hickory stick, like what Homer had Wonder Bat.
Yeah.
One of my buddies made me this club, for lack of a better, and he goes the cop's like, "What's this for?" I'm like, "In case of." He's all like, "What I heard was in case of batting practice," and he put it back in. Yeah, he
you
put
said
it
in
away
case
in
of
case
batting?
of batting practice. He's the correct answer. I'm like,
Wow.
oh, check my white privilege on that one.
I was about
You know,
to say. I was about
He
to
literally
say.
looked at the ashtray that had a bunch of folded business cards into it. Just kept looking. Just looked
Oh
through
my
everything.
God.
Like,
But was like, what's this?
yeah, but it was like, what's with this homemade hickory
the
stick
drugs.
with here? Forget the drugs. You've got a weapon. But then he looked at me like, "No, it should be in case of batting practice." I was like, "Oh,
Wow.
what the fuck?"
Wow.
See, that was wild. Yeah, that was,
That is wild.
Was,
That is wild.
that was the year I started comedy. That was 2007 fall. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I never talked about that on stage. Maybe I should. It's
Yeah.
kind of a,
Yeah, you should. You should. You should. Yeah, because that's like,
Sick.
wow.
yeah.
Like you can't make that up.
No, you can't.
You
No,
can't
that's
make that up. Yeah.
legitimately, and like it was weird because I don't know. I guess whoever I bought the car off of obtained it through like a job that he did for a lady, and he didn't finish the job, but he sold me the car. And I guess when she was like, "The job's not done, the car's stolen." And I find this out way after, right? I find this out way after, and then it all
Oh
gets
my-
sorted out. Then I'm like, "Oh, so that's why I got pulled over and almost shit my
Wow.
pants 5 blocks away from my house
Exactly.
in front of my community."
in front of the whole community.
I was like,
Oh
and
my
people just
God.
like, and like, how bad does this guy I bought the car off of, right? Like,
yes.
like to have them show up with a paddy wagon,
Like ready to take
like
you.
ready to take us down, like a full on almost tack unit, like
Yeah, especially if they did that maneuver to pin you in that
Yeah.
you couldn't.
I couldn't go anywhere.
You couldn't go anywhere.
And I was clearly just sitting in the car, like do 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 do.
It's not like he's on the move. Like
yeah, no.
you're
The
just like,
weirdest part was I was trying to program my predictive text. Because phones had predictive text at that time, and I was like, I don't like punching every number. I'll just have little key phrases like, "I'm here for your ride."
You're doing all your
I'm doing all my little things, and then all of a sudden, like, oh shit!
You look up and
again. It's like, whoa! And I look at the back, and it's just Edmonton Police Service van.
Oh
cop car.
my
Like, holy fuck! Yeah,
God,
it's pretty wild.
that's-
Yeah, so that's the closest I ever came to arrested. But I've also been arrested for other stuff.
That's wild.
It is pretty wild. It's there's some stuff. Yeah. The more you know, everyone.
The more you know.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
This has
for
been
coming
great.
here today, and this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this
was
is
a lot
super
of fun.
enjoyable, and we got shows coming up here soon. We're in Kingston, 23rd of June.
The 23rd of June.
Yeah,
We're going to be at Hair of the Dog.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I got a bunch of stuff. Actually, I got a website coming next month.
Oh, good.
KrisKingsbury.ca or .com, or it might just be Funny Kris. I'm not sure. There's like 3 that I had to go with. And but otherwise,
what you should do, I'm a web developer.
Yep.
Whatever combination of domains that you think people might use, get them.
Yeah.
And then whatever your main one is, have those buy those domains and have them
just pull into the web. Oh, okay.
So let's say it's funnykris.com.
Yeah.
And somebody types in funnykris.ca.
Yeah.
That'll go.
That'll go there
or if
too.
They go Kris Funny or whatever variation, or if your name, KrisKingsbury.com or .ca.
Yeah.
Have it forward to whatever your main.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Diversify your bonds is what she's telling me. Yeah.
Yeah. Do that.
Do all those things.
Do all those things.
Yeah.
Do all those things. So
cool.
Yeah. So if you could let people know where they can find you, where they can follow you.
Yeah, Kris Kingsbury on Facebook, Kris Kingsbury at
with
Instagram with a K, double K. I actually look like an Irish mobster in the photo. I look like I'm going to repossess your vehicle when you're not looking. Yeah, Kris Kingsbury. I'm never on Twitter, but I'm there just because I took the handle. And then Instagram, Facebook, and I do not do the TikToks, but I apparently should because a lot of my construction videos would go super viral that way.
Yes,
apparently so. But
TikTok, I'm starting to use it a little more, and I usually, if I have a funny clip of something, I
push it through there.
Yeah, I push it through there. Like I do the usual, but TikTok, I'm working really hard.
I'm feeling maybe I'll just fall into it. I'm just old like that because I'm like, I'm just going to stick with the Facebook and the Instagram. Oh, and I also run a thing called Brewing Up Laughs. And that's a page where I just bring productions to different breweries and other venues around the city. So you can find me there as well.
Awesome. I'll include all of that in the show notes.
Dope.
And thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you. This has been great.
This is long overdue, and I'm glad we were finally able to do it.
Yeah, this is super awesome. Don't often make it to the south side. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Go see live comedy. Bye.
Yes, support live comedy. Thank
comedy.
you. Bye.
Don't get arrested.